Hello, everyone. Welcome to Counselor's Couch 101. I am Jim Stump. I thank you for your comments and your emails. That's what's going to keep these little video presentations relevant to your life, and I appreciate the interaction. It gives us something pertinent to talk about, and hopefully something beneficial for all of you who come in to check out these videos and to comment on them. A topic that comes up often in counseling offices has to do with choosing a partner, right? Choosing a husband or a wife and like that. Me, you all probably figured it out by now. I am a helpless romantic. I believe in love at first sight. Someone once said, love at first sight is just one neuroses recognizing its mate. You know, I never thought that way. This wasn't my experience. But most people I talk to have not had the experience of love at first sight. And oftentimes people sit down and deliberate over the partner they're going to have. And men and women do this. They make a list of things that the person has to have. Has to be so tall, has to have a certain color hair, certain color eyes, certain level of education, a certain level of income. They have to be stable in their career and their lives and with their family, etc. They have to be well dressed, and of course, they have to have a nice car. Okay, well, all of that stuff passes, right? The car gets old, the clothes wear out, the hair goes to a different color, etc., and even the color of the eyes sort of change over time. Um, if you're in love with the person, none of that matters. I'm not there because of your hairdresser's fine work, right? That's not the point. But oftentimes people do that. They make a list of things they want to have in that partner, and then they take the list out in the world and try to find someone that matches it. And what usually happens is the person is probably pretending to be the type of a person who could attract the person who matches their list of qualities they must have, right? So they are not being genuine unto themselves. They're putting up a false front, right? And oftentimes, especially on these online dating applications, people are doing the same on the other side. They're trying to put on a good front so that someone will get interested to them. Um, I was talking to a person the other day about being honest on these online dating apps, right? And I remember a younger gentleman around 30, saying that if he doesn't lie, no one's gonna, talk to him. No one's gonna answer him back, or whatever they do to let you know that they're interested. He says you have to lie in order to get the conversation going. Hopefully, you can straighten it out later. Well, you all know that's going to lead to disaster right there. But sometimes people carry it out to its most extensive end. They keep pretending all the way up to the altar and beyond. But after a while, they get tired of holding up that facade and they revert to who they really are. And at that point, things start crashing into the fan, and the relationship doesn't turn out as successful and wonderful as they thought it should because they match my list of necessary items, right? It doesn't work. So, but there's another flip side to that. It's like a lot of people are not meeting their partners these days. It's just true. Even with all these electronic communications, um, people are not meeting the real human being that they need to connect with. And that's a shame. So, what do? Well, it depends. Some people believe that I should get married. I should have a partner, even if it's not my soulmate. It's better than being alone. They would rather have a partner they're not madly in love with than being alone. And other people are on the other side of the spectrum. If she is not or he is not my soulmate, I would rather be alone. I would rather be on my own than live going through life with someone that I don't truly love. And I'm sure that's going to produce conflicts all of itself, all by itself. I'm sure you've heard this one. Marry your best friend. That is really good advice, because if you like being with the person, if you like to go home to that person every day and share your day, share your experiences, and to have that person appreciate that the fact that you want to share your day with them, and they have interest in what you're going through because they have an interest in you. They want you to be happy. And if they can reflect on it or just be the person that you vent to, they're going to do that because they want you to be happy. They want to do that for you. That's not a bad thing. Well, what if we're settling for someone who just happens to be available? I married him because he was around. One lady way back when, this isn't recent, way back when, she said he was the only one ever asked me to marry. So I married him. Now, this is a little bit off the, a little bit off the kind of thing I usually talk about. But one guy said he married the first woman who would have sex with him. I thought that was sad. But who knows? You see, if those are the requirements of the person in the relationship and it works for that person and the partner, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's bad. Just because I don't think it's optimum doesn't mean it doesn't work for that person. It depends on the two people in that relationship, right? So sometimes, I mean, we can think back 150 years. We get mail order brides, and guys out west would send east for females, and the females would come in on the train or the stagecoach or whatever. The guy would meet her and then walk over to the preacher and get married and head out to the farm and start living their life. Um, if that worked for them at that time, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Um, but if that's not going to work for you and you want something better than that, then it's a question of looking at how you're going about it and who you are selecting from. What pool are you selecting your partners from? I always say the best thing to do is to meet people organically, and by that I mean live your life. Do the things you like to do. Go to the places you like to go. Participate in the activities that you enjoy. Do that, because I keep thinking if you go do the things you like, you're more likely to meet someone who enjoys things that you enjoy as well. You'll have something in common. That's just my thought. And if that can connect people up, great. Another thought I had along the way, and I say it often, the idea is to not find your partner. The idea is to attract your partner. You be the person you want to be. Be the type of person that you aspired to, the one who is genuine with yourself, the one who's genuine with the world. I hear people say my life is an open book. Well, my life is not an open book necessarily, but I get the idea of it. It means they're open and honest with people that they meet in their travels and in their activities. They just be honest with them. And the advantage of that is that the person who is interested in you will be comfortable with you and know that that is truly who you are and you're not putting up a front. I think it's most of us can see when someone's playing, acting out a part, just being a person or a personality. We can see right through that. That doesn't necessarily mean we're not attracted to that person. It just means we're aware of it. And that if we want to meet the real person, we're going to have to dig deeper. We're going to have to spend some time with them and find out more about them and how they feel about the world and themselves and like that. But that whole idea is I discussed this thing. I remember that song. I don't know if any of you know it, but I like old songs. I like old movies too. But that old song, Love the One You're With. If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. Is that the way we pick partners today? There's nobody else, so she was there, he was there. Is that how we pick our partner? And does it work? If you both understand exactly what you're doing before and as you're going through getting to know that other person, if you agree to that, it can work. Maybe not the most optimum, but it can work. Before I get off this topic, I'd like to tell a brief little story here. I may have told this before. If I repeat myself, I apologize. But I was speaking to a preacher not long ago, and he told me that a couple in their 70s came to him and wanted to get married. So what did the preacher do? He told him, he knew both of them because they're members of his church, right? Now, she was a widow and he was a widower. They both had been married over 50 years. They knew what marriage was. There were no secrets. They had their grandchildren. They weren't out to form another family or anything like that. They just wanted to be together. But the preacher told him, he said, look, I won't marry you unless you go through couples counseling. 70 years old, over 100 years of combined experience with marriage, and the preacher says, you need to go to couples counseling before I'll marry you. What do you guys think of that? Before I tell you what I think of it, just sort of think to yourself, is that a good thing to do? 70-year-old couple have them go through marriage counseling? Well, of course, I agreed with the minister, of course, because we go through marriage counseling, we start to look at all the things that are going to be an issue in a relationship, particularly a marriage. And we have people discuss things honestly about how they feel about all sorts of topics in order that we don't run into surprises later on and become disillusioned and unhappy with the relationship, right? So I agreed with them, 70 years old or not. They went through the couples counseling and they flew through it and they did well. They got married. They hopped on a boat and spent a year traveling around the world. I think they're still out there, but who knows? They're out there somewhere. And when we hear back from them, I'll tell you how that turned out. I'll tell you another story about a senior couple that got married as well. This couple, they'd both been married. They both lost their partners, similar sort of a situation. And they would hang out together. They were keeping company, as the expression used to be. I don't know if they were, you know, doing whatever in their homes and like that, but I do know that they were affectionate in public and they were always seen together. They always did things as a couple, and they seemed to be happy. She was a socialite type of a lady. She'd go out and talk to people and be friendly and just start making new friends everywhere she went. She was really outgoing like that. And he was a bit more quiet, but he was very, very stable guy, very sincere, very honest, right? And they finally, after being together for years, they finally decided they were going to get married. And very quietly, they went off and they got married. And we heard about it back at the ranch, so to speak. And after they came back from their honeymoon, it looked like the guy had changed a lot. I mean, there was something going on with him. He used to be a very friendly, outgoing sort of a person, not as outgoing as she was, but a friendly guy, always there to help you out, very stable, and content in the world and in his life. And I looked at him and I asked him, I said, "How's it going?" And he said, "I made the biggest mistake of my life." That's what he told me. And that's all he ever said about it. He was an upstanding guy. He wasn't going to trash talk his wife. He wasn't going to do anything negative. He wasn't going to tear her down. He's going to stand up and he was going to live up to his obligation till death do us part. That's what he agreed to. He was going to do it. But he said, "I made the biggest mistake of my life." He was very unhappy after that point, and we could all just see it in him. He's like a flower wilting, it was like that because they didn't take the time to sit down and figure out what might become issues in the future. Even though they both had a lot of experience with marriage and a lot of experience with each other, it still didn't work. He wasn't happy. And I could see that she was affected by his reaction to the situation. She didn't like it either. She really wanted to love this guy and she wanted him to love her, and somehow that wasn't happening. So we got to look at this stuff, folks. Sit down and talk about the person you're going to get married to. Should we love the one we're with, or should we be better off if we stayed alone because we didn't find that perfect partner? It's just a question, something to think about. If you have any ideas on this topic, please share them because we all learn from each other. We are all benefiting and growing and becoming more aware with the ideas that we share here and elsewhere. So leave me a comment below or send me an email, counselorscouch101@mail.com. Let me know if I can use your story, and I won't use your name, but let me know if I can use your story, and we'll share the ideas here. And hopefully it'll be enlightening for all of us. Anyway, I thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with you next time.